This class deals with marketing planning and just a general, simple introduction to marketing planning. Let's start with what marketing planning is. According to Bradley and Dibb, it's a systematic process involving assessing market opportunities or marketing opportunities and resources, determining marketing objectives, and developing a plan for implementation and control. It's a systematic approach to marketing, looking at the opportunities that are available in the market, what resources are needed to exploit those opportunities, to capitalize on those opportunities, making sure that the marketing objectives are realistic and achievable, and developing a plan for the implementation and the control of the business as it enters that market or as it attempts to capitalize or benefit from the opportunities that were perceived. So it's an overall view of the marketing opportunities and how to deliver those marketing opportunities for the benefits of the business. An alternative definition is that marketing can be viewed as part of the adoption process of an organization to its environment. In particular, planning is concerned with the manner in which the organization intends to cope with its environment. This is a much wider and somewhat more vague approach to marketing planning. It doesn't have the detail of the previous definition, but it nonetheless is a good definition, because it's saying that the organization must look at the environment, must look at the whole environment. And we'll come on to this in a few moments in this session. But it must look at the whole environment and try to see what opportunities there are, see what challenges there are in trying to benefit from those opportunities, see what needs to be done, and if it is practical to do so. So it's looking at the total environment and looking at the way the organization can cope with that environment and benefit from the environment. Now, marketing planning is an approach widely used by customer-orientated organizations. Clearly, customer-orientated organizations, which really should be all organizations, because we can view all organizations as having customers. However, marketing planning is an essential element. It's important that the organization has a plan for how it's going to deal with its customers, how it's going to determine customer wants and needs, and then address those, and give benefit to the customers, so the customers want to deal with the organization, want to purchase from the organization, and ultimately will deal with the organization long run, so that the organization may survive and prosper. Marketing planning is a process where organizations employ resources and tools to assess current market conditions and customer needs and demands. So organizations must prepare for marketing planning. It's not something that can be slotted in. This is something that must be taken seriously. There must be specialist personnel who understand the market, who understand the customers in the market and their requirements. And the organization must tool up in a way that satisfies those requirements. It must make a product that meets the customer requirements. It must deliver the product in a way that is attractive to the customer. The customer will want to purchase it at a price that the customer can afford and thinks that's reasonable. It's important for the organization, in other words, to have a complete plan. The purpose of planning ensures that organizations effectively utilize resources and are prepared to respond to the unexpected. When a business starts, it must look at the market it's attempting to enter, look at the size of the market and the requirements of the market, and design its organization so it can produce a product or service that meets the requirements of the market in the quantities that the market are likely to require. So the size of the organization will be determined by the analysis of the market. And it's important that the resources that are committed to the business are utilized. Otherwise, the business will not be an efficient business. It will not be efficient in terms of its use of resources. Now, marketing planning is concerned with trends in the marketplace, customer needs, competition, and organizational capability. So it's trying to work out what are the trends, what do the customers want, what are the customers thinking about the product. It relies on information. Information flows from the customer back to the organization. It could be information flows from marketing personnel in the field who understand what the customers are talking about, what the customers want, and feeding that back to the organization. It's a process of developing effective marketing strategies which concentrate on organizational goals. The strategies that the business follows must achieve the organizational goals. That's the whole idea. The whole idea is to achieve the organizational goals. So the marketing strategies should feed in to the organizational goals, should help the organization achieve those goals. And the marketing strategy deals with customers, customer requirements, looks at the capability of the business to supply the good or the service and in the quantities that are required by the market. In other words, the customers have a good experience of dealing with the organization. Customers who have a good experience of dealing with the organization will want to place more orders, and the organization will prosper. The organization will achieve its goals. It must implement action programs for proposed strategies. There's no point in having a strategy if it's not implemented. Having a strategy is okay, but it doesn't do anything. It has to be implemented. So the strategy has to be well thought out, well researched, carefully planned, and then implemented. Through the implementation process, will the strategy prove effective or not? If it's effective, the customers will like the product, will want the product, customer experiences will be positive towards the product, sales will result, revenue will flow into the business, and the organizational goals will be achieved. So it's important that the strategies are implemented. If they're not implemented, they don't do anything. Now let's look at this in schematic format. We'll just do it quite briefly, but look over it in terms of boxes and see the way they're connected. We start with the marketing plan. The marketing plan involves what the business wants to achieve in terms of its marketing strategy. So it has a strategy, it wants to achieve certain outcomes, and it has a plan to try and achieve those. Now the plan must take into account the conditions in the market, the size of the market, customer requirements, and it must also look at the resources of the organization to make sure it can deliver what it says it can. So one part of the plan is to attract new customers. The growth of the business will depend on attracting new customers. If they don't attract new customers, the business will stagnate. It will stay in size, and eventually over time it may diminish. It may fade away. So it's important that the business is seen as dynamic and forward-looking and attracting new customers. So it is growing and making its presence in the market felt. It is becoming more prominent in the market. So attracting new customers is an important part of the plan. It should deal with market competition and development. Markets are not stagnant. Markets may be entered by competitors, and with the advent of globalization over probably the last 20 years, maybe more, but with the advent of on a big scale, given modern technology and communication systems, there is the potential for more competition. Markets tend to be more open than ever. And the business plan of the organization must be such that it's able to take on that competition and beat them. It must have some uniqueness about its product, or about its service, or about the way it manages itself, the way it presents itself, that captures the imagination of the customers. The customers want the product, so it's fighting off the competition, and it's developing its position in the market. It must expand into new markets. Having got a product that's successful is good, but that product will go through perhaps a life cycle. It'll eventually mature and then start to decline. Products tend to do that. Customers are delighted with the product and happy with the product, but eventually they will want to experiment with other products from other companies, and eventually sales will start to taper off. So it's important that the organization expands into new markets, perhaps related markets. So it develops products and services that are connected to the main one, but represent at the same time a newness about its product line, and starts to move in a slightly different direction. A good idea is to conduct a SWOT, a strengths, weaknesses and opportunities and threats. Strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. Look at itself carefully. What are its strengths? What's the strength of the business? What are the weaknesses? How can the weaknesses be overcome? What opportunities exist in the market? And also, what new companies are out there who will pose a threat to the organization? So carefully and honestly perform a SWOT analysis on itself, and do it on a regular basis so that it is concurrent. It knows what the current position is. The current position in the market and its own position in terms of its capability. And try to maximize or optimize the returns of the business. Try to only invest in capital or capability that's going to bring back some return. Carefully try to work out what the return on the investment is, making sure that it is profitable to do so. And part and parcel of that is to make sure that there is an effective resource utilization. Make sure that the resources of the business are used and brought into play correctly. There are some sources I've used in terms of the development of this particular talk, and that's all I'm going to do. It's quite a straightforward and small talk, but yet very important and worth thinking about and developing your own notes, and have these in reserve. But we're going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.